Welcome, everyone. Tonight I have Dion, who's going to talk about his daughter, Mika, who I've been working with for the last several weeks. As Dion was just mentioning, Mika has had a little bit of a breakthrough, if you will, recently. And so before we get to all that, Dion's just going to he's going to introduce himself and talk about him and Mika.
Yeah, so my name is Dion, and I'm your typical soccer dad. I didn't play soccer growing up, just a little bit when I was very little. I was a baseball guy. That's what I did. But my daughter fell in love with the game at 5 because the neighbor girl across the street wanted to play, and that's how we found soccer. So just by watching her and reading and learning and trying to do whatever I could to help her with her career. But I'll tell you a little bit about her. Mika's, she's 13 right now, and she's just my shy, sweet, quiet, stand in the back, don't draw attention to yourself kind of girl. But she fell in love with the game, and she's worked really hard. I always make a joke that her, people say, oh, she's so talented. And I go, no, she's not talented. She's average, but she works harder than anybody else I know.
Right.
So, that hard work has led her to move up to bigger and better teams. And when that happens, we kind of start all over again. So when she's on that new team, she doesn't want to stand out. She just wants to kind of blend in and not make the coach mad, and new team, new coach. And it's just a whole new experience for her. She doesn't want to rock the boat in any kind of way. And that comes out on the field because she's not really doing anything. She's a bumper player, just kind of one that receives the ball and then passes it really quick, doesn't really do anything with it. A little bit frustrating, and that's what's happened every time we've moved up to a new team, and that's kind of where we're at now. So she's playing down in Wilmington, North Carolina, which is about an hour and 20 minutes away from the house. So 4 nights a week we drive, 2.5 to 3 hours for practices, and it's a new team and a new coach, and she's kind of doing the same thing. Shy, I want to be in the back. I don't want to cause any trouble. I don't want the coach to yell at me, but she's also not performing. And so that's where we came to you, was to kind of help out with the mental side. Now, my background is I work for the Marine Corps, and I'm a performance coach for the Marine Corps. And I know her skill level. It would peak out, or it would come out just a little bit every once in a while. So I know what was hiding right underneath the surface, but we just weren't able to bring it out of her. And I knew it was the mental side of the game. But I'm dad, so anything that I say doesn't really hold much weight, and that's why we kind of come to you. And so for a few weeks now, we've been talking with you, Coach, and for the first week, we seemed to do real well. We had, she really liked you and liked your style, and that kind of brought her in and started working with it. Second week, we had a little bit of a miscommunication, so that was kind of an off week. And then the third week, she had the flu, so we were pretty much out all week. She didn't do a whole lot. But the fourth week, we got back on track. Oh, there she is in the background, if you can see her. The fourth week, we're back on track and working. And this is where it gets really interesting, because honestly, when we started with you, I wasn't so sure if we were going to see any kind of results. I mean, I don't mean that mean. It's just that, I'm like, wow, okay, we're going to spend some money here. Is this really going to work? I don't know. Yeah. Is she going to take it? Is she going to listen to it? Is it going to come through, or are we just kind of wasting our time? And she called me at work one day, and she said, Dad, hey, I won the game in school today. And I said, what are you talking about? And she said, it's a game. It's called Cahoots, and it's kind of like Jeopardy. And the kids just shout out answers, and you get points, and whoever has the most points wins. Sounds simple enough. And at the time, I was like, oh, congratulations, baby. Good job. Hey, Daddy's got to go back to work, but I'll see you tonight. Didn't think much of it until a little bit later on, and I started coming home, and I was like, that's odd, because she doesn't want to draw attention to herself. She wants to be in the back. So games where you have to shout answers out is not something that she would typically do. Right. So when we got home, I said, hey, tell me about this game. What happened? And she said, well, we shout out answers like Jeopardy, and we get points and we win. And I said, well, how did you win? And she said, well, it's kind of fun, Dad. I just decided that I wanted to have my alter ego win. And I just said, I'm going to win. And that's as simple as it gets. And that's a technique that she learned from you, was she can be her shy, sweet, non-drawing attention self when she wants to be. But this other ego is a winner, a champion, a fighter that comes out when she wants it to come out.
Right.
And so that's a huge breakthrough. And that's the first one that you kind of know about. But the second one I'm going to drop on you. You don't know this one yet. So this is kind of fun. But the second one happened this week in practice. And we show up for practice like we always do. And we work on our exercises in the car right before we go in. And she walks out on the field and she has this practice. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with this, but I have a player tech. It's the GPS system that goes in the vest, and she wears it. Fantastic. And so it gives me a lot of data, and I'm kind of geeky like that. And I'm looking at the data, and one of the metrics that they use is impacts, or I'm sorry, not that one, the power plays. And those are just like short, quick sprints, like explosiveness, making an impact with the team. And that number is always really low for her. And so I kind of started looking at that. And on the way home from practice, we had a really long talk. And I'm like, look, Mika, I know your goal is to play D1 college, but you're never going to make D1 college if you can't make an impact on the field. Like if you're not aggressively fighting to win the ball back or playing defense or going to goal to try to score, if you're just kind of being a peripheral player, just playing balls off your foot as soon as you get it, there are a lot of kids that can do that. That's not what coaches are looking for. They're looking for that competitive fire to win. And it was a long ride home, and it was just kind of a sobering moment. It's not something that I want to have with the kid, but I feel like I need to be honest with her and let her know that you're just not cutting it. And she kept saying, I know, I can do it. I know. Next day we go to practice. She's doing her mental exercises right before we go out. And she steps foot out on the field. And one of the things I always tell her to do is, look down at the sidelines and give thanks for something. I don't care what it is. Just be thankful that you're there. Be thankful that you have a coach, whatever it is, be thankful for something. And she kind of looks down and she does her little thankful thing and gets out on the field. And she is a completely different player. I don't recognize her. I mean, sprinting to every ball, knocking people around to win it. The best example is I can tell you is the next day, and this is 2 days in a row, and the next day we scrimmage our second place team. So she's on the ECNL team, the top team, and we play our second place team in a scrimmage. And these are her friends. She played on this team last year. She was the only one to get promoted up from that team last year. And I watched her take two big defenders who were blocking her from the ball. And I watched her take two big defenders and grab them like this and pull them out of the way. And, pushing forward to get to the ball and taking a shot with her left foot that just missed wide left. And her coach is going crazy on the sidelines like, yes, this is what I've been waiting for. And after that scrimmage game, he walked up to her and he said, this is what I've been waiting to see. This is the striker that I know is hiding in there somewhere. You just have to learn how big and fast and strong you really are and let all that stuff out. And so that's what's been happening in the last two practices is her mental side. The skill side has always been there. She like I said, she's 4 nights a week with her club, 4 to 5 extra hours a week on footwork, first touch, moves, shooting, striking, scoring. The technical aspects are all there, and they're just hiding under the mental side that just needs to come out. And we're starting to see that facade crack and come open, and she's starting to come out. And I asked her again, what was the difference between tonight and, all the practices we've had last year? And she just basically said, it's Mika 2.0. I just thought who I wanted to be, how I wanted to play, like my exercises before I stepped on the field was, this is how I want to show. This is how I want to be. And she stepped out and just did it. Completely different player. A couple of parents on the sidelines, a couple of buddies of mine, we always hang out and talk, and they're just looking at me like, who is this kid? Where has she been all year? And I said, she's always been there. You just, you don't know her like I do, but this has always been there. She's just been always afraid to let go.
Wow. That's unbelievable. I mean, you said it from call number one. I mean, that's the first thing you said. And you told me, Coach, I know it's in there. I just can't figure out a way to get it out of her. And and I think a lot of players struggle with that. So that alone is unbelievable. That kind of that's fantastic. That's fantastic. So let me ask you this: what would you say is the biggest, as far as the strategies and the tools go? What would you say is the biggest benefit that she's been able to adopt and implement?
Hands down, the alter ego.
Okay.
I mean, hands down. I think, like I said, that's why that story was a little bit long, but that was the backstory. If you know her, you know that she is sweet and kind and doesn't want to hurt anybody. Her coaches, she has the utmost respect for all of her coaches, and and she's just a great kid. But some of that on the field, you want to kill it, that killer instinct. You want them to go to goal to score.
Right.
I worried a lot. I was like, I don't know if she has that. Like, and I don't know how to train that. Like, I don't know if you can train that or not. I have no idea. Right. I know I've seen glimpses of it when players like intentionally foul her. We had a girl one time from a time, I'm not going to tell you the team, but she was playing striker and she had her back to the goal and was receiving balls and beating this girl and scoring. And she received the ball at her foot and went to turn, and the girl grabbed her by the ponytail and just jerked her to the ground. I mean, flat out, red card. Referee didn't see it and, play on. So I watched her change and come out of her shell, and she was insane, crazy at that point, ready to show this kid how she could do. And that person is there, and it was there all along. I just didn't know how to get it out. And I think the alter ego is the number one thing that did it. It gave her permission to say, this is how I want to play. Mm-hmm. This is not who I am every single day. I am still this sweet girl, but on the field, I'm a monster.
Right.
And you better watch out.
Right.
So,
Dion, we still have weeks to go.
I know. I'm excited about it. Can you tell? I'm like, holy cow, this has been fantastic.
I love it. I love it. It's I want to thank you so much for sharing that story. I think that's fantastic. Huge success story. I mean, that's massive. And so I'm talking to you guys tomorrow night, and I look forward to that. So thanks again.
Yeah, she's probably gonna tell you about that. It's been a big week, and we look forward to a long relationship. I truly believe, like, some of the stuff that I've read is the physical aspects of it. From the top players, they're all very close. They're very, very close in physical abilities. What it really boils down to is who has the mental toughness and fortitude to go forward, and those are always your top players. And I can't thank you enough for helping us with that.
Dion, thanks for coming on the call.
Yeah, man. Have a great night.
All right, we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Bye.